Kimchi fried rice. This is the first episode in my new series where I take some of my more viral TikToks and make them into a long format video with the recipe attached. I get loads of comments, where's the recipe, where can I find the recipe? And I do try my best to attach a recipe to every short format video I do, but I do post one every day. So sometimes I kind of just run out of hours in the day. We're gonna start with kimchi fried rice. Then there's a few of my other viral TikToks that I really need to get around to doing as well. But this one holds a real special place in my heart. I love this dish, and the reason being is I ate it a lot. I've had the pleasure of working with lots of Koreans in kitchens over the years, and this is one of those dishes that comes out frequently in family mealtime at the restaurants, and for good reason, because it's an absolutely delicious dish. So let's talk about some ingredients you're gonna need. And the most important one, well, I don't know, there's a few pretty important ones on this one, but probably the most important one is the rice. Now you want, preferably day-old, cold, dry rice. You can do this with fresh rice, but it's really not kind of ideal. You want the cooked rice that's been in the fridge overnight, and it's had a chance to dry out. And when it's cold, it also doesn't overcook when you're putting it in the fry pan. Next most important ingredient, the kimchi. Now try and get a Korean kimchi. And when I say that, there's a lot of brands now that are making kimchi here in Australia, and I'm sure in the States as well, that you can tell aren't quite authentic. So you want one that's either made in Korea or is made by Koreans, that you get from your local, Asian supermarket. Being the kind of star flavor, you really want that to work. Now, the other trick with this dish, and I got mentioned it in my TikTok that I did a lot, is like making sure you use the kimchi juice, which I didn't do in the last one, and that was because this kimchi is often pretty dry. The one that you get, the ones that I can get in the store-bought stuff. So I will use a bit of this juice, but if you can't get much juice off your kimchi, then gochujang is the next best thing. So this is a Korean fermented chili bean paste, and you just mix this with a bit of soy sauce, and it's just as good. And in fact, I prefer to do both, kimchi juice and some gochujang, delicious. So then the other seasonings, soy sauce, sesame oil, and Maggie seasoning. I'm not sure if the Maggie seasoning's authentic. I just love putting it in most of my Asian cooking. I think it's basically liquid MSG, so it's delicious. Spring onions, sesame seeds to garnish the top, eggs. I like to do a wok fried egg on top. And why you do a wok fried is it gets that nice crispy on the outside, but it's still nice and gooey in the middle. And then I like to use bacon. I think it's pretty common to use Spam in this recipe. I like the smokiness that bacon gives. And also I didn't grow up eating Spam. It wasn't wasn't really part of my diet. I'm by no means a food snob, but I just prefer bacon to Spam. So the other thing that's worth mentioning is that if you follow me on my other channels, I have a wok. I have a full-blown restaurant power wok at home that lives outside, and I use that thing all the time. I'm also very aware that not everybody has a wok at home. So we're gonna do two versions today. We're gonna do, I'll quickly make one in a wok, how I would do it at home, and knowing that 99.9999% of the world's population probably doesn't have a powerful wok at home, we'll also do one just using my gas burner here in a fry pan. And there's just a few things that you do a little bit differently when you can't get the heat that you can in a wok. When we're doing any fried rice or stir fry, we've got to be ready. So let's start getting everything ready, and then we'll start cooking some kimchi fried rice. So I'll use 2 to 3 spring onions per kind of portion of the fried rice that I'm making. This is a dish that I'm often when I'm kind of eating by myself. That's another reason why if I'm ever cooking rice, I always cook extra. Last couple of days in the fridge, and fried rice is one of my favorite things to eat. Now you can split your whites and the greens part of your spring onion, because the whites take a little bit more cooking than the greens. Perfectly honest, when I'm cooking this dish, I don't bother. I just shove them all at the same time. I love spring onions, or scallions, or shallots, whatever you call them where you're from. So I go pretty hard on them. Probably a worthwhile mention as well. This here is a dough cutter. Bakers use them for cutting up dough. This is one of the best tools you can have in the kitchen, I think. Saves your blade from running across a chopping board all the time, and it's just easy to, if you're dealing with a lot of prep, a lot of mise en place, it's just easier to move stuff around the board and move it into stuff. So these are a great little thing. And it's also a pretty versatile little dish. We're doing a pretty basic version. I often don't put bacon in it at all. And then I often will I've got a couple of prawns there, or a little bit of leftover roast chicken or something like that. Put that through it as well. Same with veggies. You got some mushrooms lying around, you need to eat it up. Mushrooms work really well on this one. You don't need heaps of bacon. That's 3 rations, that's per portion, that's more than enough. You can easily go 1 or 2. Rough dice. Kimchi. It's good. So you're going to squeeze out all the juice that you can before we run our knife through it. So we've got a bit of kimchi juice there. Just clean myself up a bit. So to our kimchi juice, we're going to add some soy sauce, say 2 tablespoons. 6 dashes of Maggie. 10 dashes of sesame oil. You can add as much or as little of the gochujang as you want, or you can leave it out. That's all I've got left. Scraping the bottom of the packet here. So that's about a heaped teaspoon, and that goes. It's just a little dash of honey, nothing too crazy. It's probably half a tablespoon there. Oops. And then we'll split that up, the 2 different versions. And then it's just legit not Korean food unless it's got bulk garlic in it. I'm just going to microplane a clove of garlic into this as well, into each one. All right, we've got our mise en place ready. Let's cook. We'll start with the wok, so let's go outside. Time to start cooking. So, the only major difference between this and using a fry pan inside is heat. This is just going to happen a lot faster. So I've got everything ready. I've got some oil, so you want a high temperature, neutral flavoured oil. So I've got grapeseed oil here, peanut works really well, even canola oil will work just fine. So we're going to cook the rice, put it on the plate, and then we'll cook the egg for the top. The other thing to remember with fried rice is that you actually need quite a lot of oil. And make sure if you're using a wok, it's well seasoned, otherwise it's going to stick. So first up, bacon. Kimchi. And then in goes the rice. Make sure it's all nicely broken up. Spring onions, I've probably gone a bit too much. I've got half what I had before. And sauce. That's it. Give that a quick wipe out. Time for the egg. Some sesame seeds. Delicious. Let's go make one inside. All right, so if you're doing this at home in the fry pan, unless you've got a really well seasoned cast iron pan, I suggest you use a non-stick pan, or this is just going to be a sticky mess. So, like always, any cooking like this, you've got to make sure you've got heat in your pan. So element on, and get that warming up. You can use the same pan, but we're going to fry the egg in a separate pan today, I find it, and just get you a better egg in the end. And it's the same process. It's just going to take a little bit longer, and you're going to be a little bit more patient with it. It's not going to happen quite as quickly as a wok, and you're also not going to get that same kind of charred flavour that you get from the wok, which just comes from the heat. So you're going to wait until you see the oil start to smoke. That's your cue to start cooking. Also, non-stick pan, can't use a wok spoon, so use a wooden spoon or a rubber spatula. So, same as last time. bacon, kimchi. Make sure the temperatures come back up in the pan before you add anything else. Spring onions. Time for the rice. Start frying our egg. Add our sauce. Fried egg. Sesame seeds. So there you go, kimchi fried rice. Just as easy to pull off at home without a wok than with a wok. If you've got a wok, by all means use it. It creates a much different eating experience. That kind of crispy burnt bits that you get on it kind of really elevate and change this dish. But just as delicious if you use a good non-stick fry pan at home. So next time you're making rice, make sure you cook extra and make this the next day. Your friends and family will love you for it. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. I post on here every Sunday, and I post on my other socials, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff, pretty much every single day. We'll see you next Sunday for another one of my viral TikToks. Peace.